fact, I have it right here. So what this is what this is saying is that it should be as application state changes occur. So application state changes inside of a RESTful environment are, I'm going to give you a new representation of that state, of some part of that application. So what this is suggesting is that that should be done and that should be described inside the actual representation, either inside the representation of the document itself or through headers. So in other words, it should be described by the system, not generated by the client. So here's an example of, and we don't do this, by the way, right now. Most of our APIs that we develop that are RESTful APIs don't do this. And this is it's been in there inside of the notion of REST for a long time, but it's never really taken off. And I think that now there's some interest in it. So at bare minimum, you should be aware of it. So this is an example of JSON that has links to other entities or to the entity itself represented directly inside the document. Okay, so this might be in along with your other attributes of that particular representation. It would have links to the other behaviors that you can get that are relative to this thing. So for example, there might be a relationship that says if I want to get all of the addresses for a particular card, like street addresses, that is actually right there in the document. Now the cool thing about this is that one of the questions that I asked myself a few weeks back is, if I'm writing an application that's pure JavaScript, how do I determine how to call the API? Like, where's all this coming from? And the answer is you should have one entry point to the resource, and then the resource describes where to go next. All right? So that's what this is kind of describing here. And these could get long. I mean, you could have, let's say, for example, you have a point of sale system, and you have an order, and the order, you might want to submit the order, which will create a purchase. So there might be a relationship that says submit order, and the URL is